This week on Before the Free Count, we talk about what happened on Friday Night SmackDown and go over everything that just happened on Saturday Night Main Event. Run that intro.
Are you ready?
We are Before the Free Count. Wrestling for the fans, by the fans.
The number one podcast for the latest on Raw, SmackDown, all pay-per-views. My name's Charlie. I've been a wrestling fan since I was the age of 15. And over the last 5 years, I've gone on the most insane journey. We go through everything, analysing every moment. Welcome to Before the Free Count. So come along and let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to yet another episode of Before the Free Count. Are you ready? Are you strapped in? Because let's get this party going. Okay, hope you're all well. Thanks also for tuning in yet again. Remember, you can follow us on all our social medias that you can find down below. You can also listen to this on Spotify, Apple Music, and of course you could be watching the YouTube video right now. We are in the middle of getting the YouTube videos put onto Spotify. It's a process that's taken me a little bit longer than I thought it would, but we're nearly there, and once they're up I will let you know. But again, thanks again for tuning in. So let's get into the show. So let's start off with Friday Night SmackDown, and yeah, let's just go through it like how we always do. So we kicked off this week with a promo from Tiffany Stratton, which also involved Alexa Bliss. I thought this was brilliant because, of course, these two had never actually worked, I don't think, with each other before. I really enjoyed this promo. I thought it was fantastic. I loved the little throwback to Alexa when she said about anyone that delirious has to call themselves a queen, of course, referencing Charlotte Flair, and was saying all those things like, just because we haven't met before doesn't mean you don't know who I am. Tiffany giving it all, you know, well, I'm now champion, all that kind of stuff. And of course, because of the mention of her, Charlotte Flair does come out near the end of this promo and tries to cover herself on that. But Charlotte is actually going in to the next match, which was a Money in the Bank qualifier. But just to finish off on this promo, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. It was really funny as well. That was also another thing that I really enjoyed. And the fact that she said that, let's be, at the end of the day, you two are the originals, I'm the game changer. I like that, and we're getting to why I think that's going to be start of a good story later on. But as I said, after that we then went into a qualifying match for Money in the Bank. This is, I think, the fourth Money in the Bank qualifying match. There was another one that night, so we now have 5 contestants. Let's go into the first one, which of course was Julia, Zelina Vega, and of course Charlotte Flair. Just wanted to add in here, Julia and Charlotte worked so well together. They were absolutely brilliant. It was so good to see. It was a really quick paced match. I really liked how they all worked together very well. One of my favourite things in the match was the moonsault off the top rope when Charlotte had, I believe it was Zelina on her shoulders, and it was Julia that did the moonsault, and yeah, that was spectacular, absolutely brilliant. The ascended drop kick was also fantastic. Some really good moves. Charlotte worked really well with Zelina Vega. I don't think I've seen them two work together as much, or maybe I've missed out, but them two worked really well together. The whole thing just went really well. It was like a very good match. Of course, near the end, we had a moment where we thought that Zelina was going to win it, and then Charlotte got in the way, and just as that happened, Julia got the pin on Charlotte and won the match. I believe it was on Charlotte. Let me check that. So Charlotte had Zelina in place, ready to count, but just then Julia jumped over, kicked Charlotte out the way, and of course got the free count on Zelina, putting Julia in the women's Money in the Bank match. I think this match is really lining up to be something special. Now, I was going to go through all of them right now, but I thought, you know what, we'd do that at the end when the next one, when we get to the second women's qualifying match later. Also, another thing very quickly, just want to give a quick shout out to the guy that had the sign near the edge of the ring that said, "Bring heavy metal back." I thought that was That was brilliant. Really, really cool. There wasn't another women's qualifying match. I apologise. I thought there was. So the women's qualifying matches, there's only 2 places left, I believe, and the women's Money in the Bank match. We've got Julia, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez. I think that's it. Yeah, 2 places left to go. I'm really looking forward to this. Really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a spectacular women's Money in the Bank this year. And it's only a week on Saturday away. There will be a few changes to what I said I'll be doing for that. So I will let you know probably next week when I know more about what the timeline of everything's going to be. But the possibility may not be alive for Money in the Bank, which I know is a bit of a shame. But there will definitely be a special podcast version, of course. So we'll get back to that later on, but I just thought I'd give you a quick update on that before, we carry on today. Next up, we had a McIntyre. Then we had a match which was very interesting. We had Motor City Machine Guns Chris Steeler versus DIY's Ciampa for a match. I thought this was brilliant. It was a very, very clever setup for what happened in the main event later on. And during this match, when DIY walked out, we had Candice LeRae walk out with them, as most of you will know is Johnny Gargano's wife in real life. But yes, that was really interesting. Really, really good match. It was quite quick. But, it did what it needed to. And, of course, with Candice LeRae there to help with the distractions, of course, Ciampa won the match. It was a very, very good match. So I thought it was a bit random at the beginning, but it made sense later on why they put that match there on the cards. And I thought that was fantastic. Then we had a really cool fun match, which was between Piper Niven and Alba Fire versus B-Fab and Michin, of course, with Chelsea Green on the sidelines here. I thought this was fantastic, by the way. Really fun little match. Just to say that I don't think I've seen them work as much as I thought I did. But Alba Fire and Piper Niven work so well together. It was so good. So good. Good little tag team they've got there. Really, really good little tag team they've got there. Michin and B-Fab also very, very good. Very heavy hitting in the match. Worked very fast pace. This was quite a short match, but I loved it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. The one thing I will say, though, is that the ending did really make me laugh purely because it was Chelsea that distracted them and yet lost them the match. And then the end of the match was really, really good because we had Zelina Vega come down and distract Chelsea Green when she went to go and jump on the ropes and distract the ref. So then B-Fab and Michin got the win, which was awesome. But no, it's a really, really cool little match. Again, I like these little things they're setting up. I will mention why in the second part about why I'm mentioning the things about the women. Some people may already know, some people may not. But yeah, they're very clever with what they're doing at the moment, WWE. Just when you think that, okay, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Of course they do. Moving on from that. And then we had another really good tag team match, which was Jey Uso and Rey Fenix. I know, quite a strange combination, I did think myself, against JC Mateo. I keep on getting his name right. I just think it's a stupid name. There's something else I got a bone to pick with that guy this week, with this match particularly, actually. And Jacob Fatu. Jacob's been kind of going on his own thread at the moment, not really listening to Solo, and kind of could see where this was going. But just want to say very quickly, as I said, I wouldn't be one of those people that would have put Jey Uso and Rey Fenix together, but my God, they worked ridiculously well together. It was so good. Really, really good. The only thing I've got a problem with this match was JC's finisher. It's stupid. It's really stupid. If you can probably guess with the way I say that, JC and Jacob did win the match, but I don't know, man. This finisher that they've come up with, JC Mateo, I just don't. I'm not saying they have to look realistic, but when it has to be done in a certain way, it was kind of like, really? Really, that's what you've gone with? You've gone with that? And basically, the end of the match is Jimmy Uso. I said Jay the whole time. I've meant Jimmy. I do apologise. I did mean Jimmy. My mistake. Jimmy literally ran towards JC and literally had to his arms were like that already ready, and he just had to jump, and he had to basically fall into his arms for him to then catch him and then slam him down. I just thought, really, I don't know if maybe it's because it didn't pay off the way they wanted it to, or whatever it was, or maybe they just didn't hit the timing perfectly, but either they need to have a lot more rehearsal on that particular move, or it's awful. Because it's just, when someone's got to jump in your arms to make your signature be pulled off, really? Look, I'm not having a go at him. I know that some of the bigger guys have to have more help from the skinnier, should we say, wrestlers when pulling off their signatures. But come on, we've had Omos. He's got a fantastic one. Bronson Reed, he's got a brilliant one. Undertaker was similar. He's a legend. Bron Breakker, same kind of situation. The Big Show made a whole career out of it. They've never had to do it where it's that that ridiculous, in my opinion. But nevertheless, it is what it is. But I thought it was a great match. That's one thing I will say. It was a brilliant bloody match. Nearly my match of the night. It nearly did get my match of the night until that happened. And I know that's really mean, but just got to be honest, I just thought that signature kind of ruined it, in all honesty. Now, on to the men's qualifying Money in the Bank match this week. We had Aleister Black versus LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. What can I say? This match was fire from the beginning to the end. Brilliant match from start to finish. Great work from all three competitors in the match. It was brilliant. Really nice to see Shinsuke actually get a bit of time in the ring to show off some of his moves as well, because he really hasn't, he's a bit, I've said this before, but Shinsuke is a bit up and down most of the time. You don't really know if, he's going to get the chance of going for a title again, like how he did when he got the USA Championship, or Intercontinental, earlier in, I think it was in January he had it. I think it was January at, why do I think it was at Royal Rumble? I think it was at Raw. I could be wrong. But yeah, that was a really, really good match. No, it was really good to see him. As I said, Aleister Black is on fire. I don't think they're giving him enough time. I will be completely honest. But he's really building his way. He needs longer matches. He needs what Axiom has had. That's what I will say. The time that they gave Axiom in the last 5 weeks since they've come over as a tag team, I can't stop talking about the tag team division at the moment. I think it's spectacular. You've heard it before on here. It's the last match tonight. You can presume where it's going. But I think that Aleister Black needs the same amount of time. LA Knight wins, puts him in his second Money in the Bank match ever. First time was really when he started to really get over, like the Yeah movement had really kicked off. And that was the one in London, which I actually went to go and see. And I was pretty convinced he was actually going to win it. I don't know with this year, because there's a few other really good contenders this year that could change, the whole way that match could go. But I will add in a picture here of all of the current competitors for the men's Money in the Bank, purely because I can't remember them. I didn't write them down in my notes, so I do apologise. But there are your men's Money in the Bank qualifiers so far, and I believe there is also 2 spaces left on that. So there will definitely be one on Monday Night Raw, and there will definitely be one on Friday Night SmackDown. And then the next week, the build-up will really start, and we will have one of my favourite parts of the year, which is like, I don't know if they do it on Raw or if they do it on SmackDown. They'll probably do it on SmackDown, but it's when they have all of the competitors, both for the men's and the women, and they're standing on their ladders and they have their little promo shots at each other. That's always just a brilliant little moment for me this year. I love it every year. So yes, but no, LA Knight qualified, goes into the Money in the Bank match this year. Moving on to our main event now. What can I say? Oh, it was so good. It was so good. So after weeks of waiting and it building up, we finally had Axiom versus the Street Profits for the World Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. 10 out of 10 match. I don't know what else to say. It was just perfect. Absolutely perfect. They work so well together. The whole match was just brilliantly flowed. Couldn't tell who was going to win at some point. You really couldn't. Some of the stuff they were doing, I mean, like, some of the stuff they were doing on the announcers table and, like, side of ring, and, the when they were jumping, doing the double jumps from one to another onto the runway, where I can't remember who was down and who was getting hit. I think it was Axiom that was getting hit by Street Profits, but it was the other way around. It was Axiom jumping from one side of the ring to another, then jumping out and landing on them, and then getting back in the ring as the other one jumped, and then doing it again. It was just, there's a reason why the tag team division is on fire at the moment, and it is because of matches like this. It was just spectacular, like, in every single way. I honestly could not tell which way it was going to go. I did not really actually have a thought going into it of who I wanted to win, because Street Profits have been on fire since they won back in March as champions, and all credit to them. Axiom, I genuinely wouldn't have cared if they would have won it and, carried it over. And you're probably thinking, if you didn't watch the match, wait, so if he said that about them and then who won? Aha! So, of course, we then had a run-in from DIY with Candice LeRae, who then started to go on the Street Profits big time. And then, of course, Motor City Machine Guns come down, and they start going after Axiom. And Axiom are going after DIY, and everyone's going after everyone. And it's chaos. And then pitch black. And what happens when the lights come on? The Wyatt Six return. Oh yes, Uncle Howdy and his crew are all back. We saw them all. We saw Nikki AST. We saw Joe Gacy. Of course, we saw Wyndham Rotunda. Of course, we also saw Eric Rowan. It was spectacular. And it was just, when it happened and they started attacking people, every single one of them, it just made so much sense. So Nikki Cross and Candice LeRae never liked each other. They had quite a decent feud in the past, and I think there was a point where something did happen when she was in the White Six last time. And Nikki jumps from the ring straight onto Candice LeRae. I was like, that makes so much sense. Eric Rowan goes straight for the Street Profits. Joe Gacy goes straight for DIY. It makes so much sense. And then Uncle Howdy goes for Axiom. And I'm like, what the hell did they do? And then, of course, Motor City Machine Gun then get, I think, a Joe Gacy or Eric Rowan jumped on them as well. Everyone's getting destroyed. And then they pull a Sister Abigail out of nowhere. Well, Uncle Howdy does. And, of course, it stops the match because we don't have a winner. The match was null and void. It just stopped. It was just... So we had this amazing match, which I would not have cared who won. And then we had this spectacular return of the Wyatt Six. And one thing I want to say really quickly, I was a huge Bray Wyatt fan. I think many, many people were. What was really, really touching about this was at the end of the match. Of course, everything fades black and they start playing the song. But they actually had a cake in the ring with one candle. And that's because on Friday, it actually was Bray Wyatt's birthday. So I thought that was a really nice touch. I think the timing was perfect, clearly. But even if it wasn't Bray Wyatt's birthday, I still think they would have gone ahead with it. I think maybe they just worked it out, clearly a few weeks, maybe a month or so ahead, and just went like, look, this is what we're doing, we're going to get you to come back. And probably one of them said, it's Bray's birthday on one of the Friday night SmackDown, so if we could do it on that. Anyway, I just thought it was brilliant. The whole thing was just absolutely spectacular. And there we have it. Sorry to take a bit of time out in the vlog for you, but I wanted to talk about our sponsor, the amazing WrestleCrate, as you may have heard here. What is a WrestleCrate? Well, let me tell you. WrestleCrate is a monthly subscription box for people like you, that love wrestling. What do you get in this box, you're probably wondering? Well, let me show you. Autographs from people like Daniel Bryan, Lita, Godfather, DDP, Kane, Sting, the Hardy Boys. Well, what else do you get? Well, maybe you get a cool poster like this one. Cool key rings. Even pretty cool Lucha Libre puzzles like this. Cool pins like these. And you also get awesome t-shirt just like all of these. It's the best part, because you come through us before the free count, you can get yourself a free WrestleCrate with your first order just by going to www.wrestlecrate.co.uk and using the code BTTC, and you get a free box with your first order. How awesome does that sound? So what are you doing sticking around here? Go and get yourself one. The other thing was, we did have a little hint of a little bit of a Alexa Bliss with the Wyatt Six, not in anything to do with the last match, but the quote that she made earlier in the promo, how I said about how she went that only a delusional idiot would have to call themselves a queen, is actually something that Alexa Bliss said directly to Charlotte when she was working with Bray Wyatt when he was doing The Fiend, and she was carrying around Lily. So maybe that's where we're going with that. Moving on very quickly, though, we've got to talk about Saturday night's main event. I mean, hello, how good was that? I don't usually talk about these, but because I was a little bit late to recording it this week, I thought I'd chuck this in there for you as well. So, Saturday night main event, we're going to go through them quite quickly. We're not going to spend too much time on them, but we are going to go through them. Just to start off with, we had Sami Zayn with CM Punk versus Bron Breakker and Seth Rollins. Oh my god, what a match. It was class. The whole thing. Absolutely brilliant. Could it have actually been the main event? I think it could have. Just saying. I'm being honest. If they wouldn't have said Jay and Logan were going to headline like a month and a half ago, literally, that should have been the main event. And I'm saying that over the Cena match. So, yeah. I understood kind of why they did it that way, but because of what happened at the very end of Saturday Night Main Event. But the match was just fantastic. And of course, one little thing, I just thought I'd mention it. We finally know who the third guy is. It's Bronson Reed. No one saw that one coming. We haven't seen him for months. I was a little bit confused at the beginning. But now I've had time to digest it and think about it. It's genius. Think about it. You got Paul Heyman, the guy that can do the talk for Seth Rollins. Bron Breakker, who can literally squeeze it out of them. And now you've got Bronson Reed, who could kick the living crap out of them. I mean, it's basically put Seth in an untouchable position now. Because they're going to have to go through Paul, Bronson, and Bron to get to Seth. And if you don't think this is going to be like what Roman's been doing, where every match that Seth has when he eventually gets a championship, they're not going to get involved. What did you think was going to happen? This is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see this going forward. I know a lot of people were quite shocked it was Bronson Reed. Again, as I said, I was quite surprised by who it was at the beginning. And I did think that they were going to give it a bit more time to build up. The one thing that got me, I was really surprised they revealed it on Saturday Night Main Event. I mean, they could have waited a week and actually done it on Money in the Bank. And that could have been even more of a shock. And it's a bigger audience. Let's be honest, it is. Okay, it's not really a pay-per-view Saturday Night Main Event. It's not part of the Netflix contract. It's on YouTube. It's a big event, but it's not... some people loved it, some people hated it this time. I thought it was brilliant. The only thing I hated was the same thing that everyone else has been saying, which is the amount of adverts they put in there. And considering it was on YouTube, you just had to sit there because, it was on some TV platforms in America, but the rest of the world, it was on YouTube. So you just sat there with the screen with, please wait, we'll be back soon. They did nearly kill it with the amount of adverts they put in this year. It was real. What's the saying? Fist to mouth, I'd say. With the adverts. But nevertheless, thought it was a brilliant match. Moving on to a match that didn't love as much, just going to be honest, was we had Chelsea Green versus Zelina Vega, which was confirmed on Friday Night SmackDown. Sorry, I didn't say that. I do apologise. It was a very quick match. It was okay. Zelina Vega cocked up massively with her 619 because she didn't swing straight through the ropes, and of course Chelsea Green's head is through the ropes, and the legs have to go over to push them. Her legs went straight into Chelsea Green's face, more than anything actually into her forehead, and she started bleeding massively. The match had to end. It was almost like what happened to Nia Jax a few weeks ago, if you remember that. The match almost finished within less than a minute after that. I think one of Chelsea's people, I think it was Alba Fire, got up on the rope and tried to do something whilst Chelsea was putting something in place, but it didn't work, and it very quickly finished the match, should I say. So yes, good. It was okay. It was an okay match, but yeah. Anyway, moving on. We then had... Let me check my notes, Pete. Of course. Then we had R-Truth versus John Cena. Very short match. Very, very short match. And again, a lot of these matches were short purely because of the amount of times they put in the adverts. Like the match kicked off, you got 2 minutes. It went to probably like a 5-minute ad break, came back, and then you probably got another 5 minutes. So altogether to the viewers, you weren't even getting 10-minute matches. And that's the thing that I think ruined it this time. Was, at least like I think about a year and a half ago, at least we were getting like picture in picture. And like, certain continents we were getting, it to still carry on I mean, like, they knew they were on YouTube. Why couldn't they just kept it? I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with the contracting. But yeah, really good match. It was great to see R-Truth get all of John Cena's signatures in there. Really funny to see R-Truth also come out in a Ron Cena shirt, the Final Farewell Tour shirt, with his face on. Came out to John Cena's music. He got all of John Cena's famous moves in. He got the 5-knuckle shuffle. He got the You Can't See Me. He got the attitude adjustment in there. He got all of them. Again, really good match. And you thought that John was going to hit him with the belt like how he did to Cody. But Ron goes like that, no, stab, da, da, da. I can't remember what he said. Da, da, da. Where did I get that from? Da, da, da. Anyway, so yeah, he kind of tried to stop it, and he does look at him, and you do think for a second, oh, maybe. Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to go that way. It was so obvious, but it's to give you the hint that maybe he's changed, because it's against R-Truth of all people. One of the loveliest guys in wrestling, one of the most stupid, but yeah. So he gives the belt back, and just as the ref turns to put the belt down, he, gives him the old kick in the gonads, makes him drop to the floor, gives him an attitude adjustment, and finishes the match. Simple as. Again, it was pretty good. I liked what I saw. Nothing spectacular. And that's the one thing I've got to say, apart from the first match. Having said that, I did really, really enjoy the next match, which was Priest versus McIntyre, which I'll go into in a second. But I'd say only half the card lived up to what it should have been this time. So, as I said, moving on, we then had Priest versus McIntyre in a steel cage match. This was brilliant. This was absolutely brilliant. Again, a bit short. I think it was one of the longer matches. It probably was the longest match on the card the whole night. I think that and the opener with CM Punk, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, and Bron Breakker, I think them two were around about the same length. But about 20-ish minutes, 25 minutes. But and that includes the ad breaks in that. That's not taking the ad breaks out of that, by the way. So again, you kind of see what I mean. So yeah, I thought it was a really good match. Very strange ending, because in a steel cage match, it's usually the first person to get over the top of the steel cage for them to win. But of course, there was a count out, and he just walked out the cage, Damien. And I think everyone was just going, okay, we're going to do it like that. Okay, I mean, it's not really the rules, but I thought it bloody was, to be honest. But yeah, apparently I'm wrong. So yeah, very good match. Really, really enjoyed it. Very hard hitting. Those two work so well together. We've seen it so many times now, but it was just brilliant. Sadly, though, there was a major injury to Drew McIntyre. He's been working hurt for quite a while, and I think quite a few people knew this. Ever since he went into Mania hurt, I knew that. And he's still been carrying on. You haven't seen him loads and loads and loads purely because of this. But by the looks of what we've seen and what we've heard, that was the final blow for McIntyre. So he's going to be taking some time off. Unspecific amount of time has been said. They don't know how long for, so he clearly will not be at Money in the Bank, which is a shame. Well, we don't know what the injury is, so I could be wrong. But from what I'm hearing, there is a chance he might need surgery. Now, again, it hasn't been specified what the injury is or what the ongoing problem's been, but that's basically what we know of at the moment. So yeah, really sad to hear that. Going on to my final match, which was the main event. We had Logan Paul versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. Here's my problem with this match. It was less than 10 minutes. And it was the main event. Bearing in mind, that includes the adverts. 10 minutes. I think it worked out around about 10, 11 minutes. The whole match. If you take out then walk into the ring and start the matches from when the bell goes off, it was about, I'd say, 11 minutes. And I'm being serious. And here's the most annoying part. 6 of them minutes was on ad breaks. Not even joking. So we saw the first 2 minutes cut to a 5-6 minute ad break. So that was 7, 8. Then we had probably another 2 minutes. But in the match, something very interesting happened, especially near the end. And that was the thing that annoyed me, is because of what happened at the end, just as the match started to get going, I really thought, oh, this is going to be really good. They've really started warming up to this now. We had what I'm about to say, the thing that went down, and it didn't give neither Jay or Logan a chance to actually get into the match properly. So there was nothing really for me to highlight, which is quite annoying for a highlight show. But, of course, as I said, just as Jay was going to get the 3 count on Logan, the ref has pulled out the ring. And who's he pulled out the ring by? John Cena. John Cena stopped Jay from holding his championship. And then he gets involved in the match and starts beating him up, kicking him to the ground and all of that stuff. And then he lets Logan try and get the pin, but he misses. And Logan goes to get the... No, sorry, he doesn't. So what happened was, so John comes in, pulls out the ref, starts killing the living daylights out of Jay, the poor bugger. And just when you think that, Logan's going to run back in or something, whose music do we start to hear for the first time since WrestleMania? Oh yeah. The American Nightmare is back. Cody Rhodes comes to the rescue. He stops John Cena, gets him out of the way, punches Logan Paul to the ground, gets Jay back up, gets the ref back in there, gets the match finished the way it should. Very quickly, the match is announced as Jay is the winner, and we go straight into Cody with the mic going, enough. You have ruined enough things, okay? Your farewell tour dares come to my hometown, because that's where it was, his hometown. Cody's hometown was where Saturday Night Live was. Saturday Night Main Event, I said Saturday Night Live then. I knew I was going to do that at some point. You dare come to my hometown with your retirement tour after ruining stuff. You've ruined enough. You seem to have your partner there in Logan Paul. I've got my best guy here, Jey Uso. How about it? You and me with these two in a tag team match 2 weeks tonight at Money in the Bank. So there you have it. Your main event for Money in the Bank this year will be yet again a tag team match. And it will be John Cena and Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Great match. Great idea. We did this a few years ago. Again in London, we did this when the Usos lost their championship at WrestleMania 39. So the year later, we were in that July when it was in London, we had the Bloodlines rules tag team match. You had the Usos versus Roman and Solo. That was one of the best matches I've ever seen. It was the first time Roman got pinned in almost 3 years. What's going to happen at this match? I don't see John winning. Logan's got to win to make this a good comeback. And then I think we're going to start seeing, okay, where are we going? Are we going to go for the obvious? Are we going to go for Cody going for the title at SummerSlam? Because I think that makes sense. But at the same time, we've still got all of John's other retirement matches to come. So do we just have matches for the sake of having the matches? Or are we going to continue them with a belt? That's my question. Also, here's another thing. We've got 2 people left to go into Money in the Bank. Who will it be? I've got a sneaky suspicion of the two men. Even though I don't think they have announced who the men's qualifying match on Raw is going to be. But one other thing, and I don't ever talk about NXT, but Battlegrounds was also on this weekend. And Joe Hendry lost the title to Trick Williams. And that was a TNA championship. So it's not even a WWE championship. And it's gone to a WWE guy. Never seen this happen before, ever. I've seen like a different title get put on the line from a different, company, but never someone from the other company win it. Like, that's monumental. So it leaves Joe Hendry and TNA really in a bit of a pickle, because not only is their champ lost, but they now don't have a title. There's clearly a long story going on here. They're playing the long game. But I think one of the ways that they're doing this, I think Joe Hendry could be in the Money in the Bank match. And I genuinely mean that. I genuinely think that Joe Hendry could be in the Money in the Bank match. Because at the beginning of the year, he was saying about how he'd love to be one of John Cena's last matches. Now, this was in January, February. Look how far he's come since then. He's appeared at the Royal Rumble. He's appeared on NXT multiple times. He fought Randy Orton at WrestleMania. And he brought his title onto another platform's pay-per-view and lost it. Now, they're not going to put someone like that in a position for no reason. I think Joe Hendry is going to be in the Money in the Bank match. My other person, I think John Cena is going to throw himself in the match. Even though he's now got this match, I think John Cena will throw himself in this match. Because then he can go, well, even if I lose the title, I've got the briefcase, so I can, just win it off myself. Or he wins it and he goes for Jay's title during this match. That would be pretty epic. And then continues the match and then still loses. But I don't know how that would work, There's something like that. Or SummerSlam, or, But they're my two. I think that I don't think the John one will happen now. I thought about this before, obviously, what happened to Saturday night main event. And now it's probably not as realistic. But Joe Hendry, I've got a really, really funny feeling that that's the way they're going to go with this, considering it's never been done before. So, yes. But that is it for this week. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Spotlight on SmackDown. I do apologise, it's a bit late. It has been a bank holiday in the UK, so, I've been a little bit busy. But nevertheless, we will see you probably on Wednesday with Raw recap. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, all the links are down below. There's also polls and that, and questions you can send in. All of that. Remember to follow us on social media. We will see you next time. See ya.